Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Which morning horn sees a sip of chaga. Chaga coffee. Oh, so much going on right now. Yesterday we talked about cryptos and the crypto supposed crash. I actually put out for everybody a Jenny Moonstone, part of the Jenny Moonstone discussion from the private road. We put it on the public road because she didn't say anything too anti-YouTube. We were talking about the crypto crash and the crypto moonshot this year. We ran some cards on that, talked about it. Go check that out. You should have both cryptos and silver. Keep that ratio very, figure out what I like 50-50. 50-50 silver and 50-50 all other cryptos. Silver and all other cryptos. For the million reasons I talk about every day. But I was so excited to see my buddy Big Dog 1111 on YouTube having a great silver debate. I would not have used that term great silver debate because people were looking forward to stuff, but whatever. I did watch it. Big Dog made, he had a slideshow with all his points. I mean, they're the points that everybody knows why silver's the greatest investment on the planet right now. Although they didn't go into the biggest reason to own silver is the end of the manipulation. They talked a little about manipulation, but not why it's done, why it's important for the old system to continue to run using the manipulation and blah, blah, blah. But I did want to point out Robert Hartley, who I love as a YouTube crypto guy. He's the guy who invented Data is Godzilla. So what's not to love, right? He knew nothing about silver. It was sad to watch. But hey, Robert, if you want to debate me on silver versus crypto versus anything, I'm happy to debate. I was looking for something on the other side. I've seen so many great silver debates. The other side never has anything. And Robert Hartley did not let me down on that front. I was looking for something, but his big argument was, hey, nobody talks about the billions of ounces of investment silver. About 60 to 65% is used for industrial purposes. He admits that's pretty much gone from the equation. This is of annual mine production, which is like 750, 800 million. And then the other couple hundred million are used for silver and silverware and jewelry and investment bars. And then he talked about how if the price of silver ever went to $50 or $60, everybody who had investment bars would be dumping those on the market. You'll have billions of ounces of silver coming on the market from all the investment bars. Number one, shall we say, that's not how investment works. And you should know this, Bob. Investment works as prices climb, people get in. And because the amount of invested silver is so spread out between all these different, people give silver quarters or silver dollars to their kids for Christmas. They're not going to sell. They haven't sold. As a matter of fact, that's when they hoard. The only way to keep the price down is for the derivative market to dump. And that's why the derivative market dumps billions of ounces of silver every week. So if you're talking about price is only determined on the COMEX. Only determined on the COMEX. That's the only exchange on planet Earth for silver. The LBMA is something completely different. It is an association. It's not even an exchange. But everybody knows there's nothing in the LBMA. But the COMEX is where they determine the price. So it's got nothing to do. I mean, if you take that 4 billion ounces that they talk about 4 billion ounces. I don't know if that's right. It's probably more like 6 or 8 billion ounces that is potentially could come to market in the form of, melt down your silverware, melt down your Jesus statue, melt down, everything. But they go with 4 million. Or 4 billion. That's fine. Any way you slice it, 4 billion. Just think about it. 4 billion times $25. What is that? $100 billion. $100 billion is currently the market cap of all potential investable silver. What is the market cap of gold? $11 trillion with a T. Clearly, there's a reason people hold gold and silver, not only as an NFT type token. They started talking about NFTs, and the debate went off course really fast. They started talking about Katy Perry, and then they're relating Theta to silver. Completely different things. I mean, silver is an industrial metal for the most part. As the price goes up, those who make things like electronic cars, solar panels, iPhones are going to have to stockpile. Massive. So as the price rises, Robert got it completely wrong. People don't sell their silver. Even the average Joe doesn't. That's the only time people get into silver is when the price is rising. But industrial needs really, I mean, how much does Apple have to spend on silver if they're going to make Apple computers? They have a hell of a lot of money, and they absolutely need silver. I mean, I hate to tell you, Robert, you're lovely and my lovely too. Theta and Theta Fuel would not work without silver in the mix. Would not work. The internet would not work without silver in the mix. Silver being the best conductor of electricity. So all the hardware needed to run the internet absolutely needs silver, and a lot of it. And vice versa. The internet is not going to work in the future without Theta and the Theta Fuel. So, I mean, Robert, I love him to death, but the concept, his big argument was, as silver hits $50 and $60, 4 billion tons or 4 billion ounces of silver are going to come flooding into the market. It's the exact opposite. All the manufacturers are going to hoard billions or try to get their hands on billions. It's going to be a feeding frenzy on price. Kind of like what Chris Giancarlo said in 2017, 2018 crush of the cryptos. Had we let it go, the price would have just kept going up. That's the key. The problem isn't with silver. The problem isn't with cryptos. The problem isn't even with the exchanges. The problem is what we're valuing it in, and that's the US dollar. That even in what they tell us, they're printing massive amounts, but what they don't tell us is they're printing infinity. They just don't tell you. How do you think these banks are getting all these bailouts? Hey, you need a couple trillion? What's $1 trillion in electronic money? Not on a blockchain, mind you. It's the difference between 100 billion and $1 trillion is one little electronic zero. Here you go, JP Morgan. Here's another trillion. Now you go, I mean, JP Morgan even says in their annual report, they deal in $8 trillion every single day going out of their money center. What is that and why? I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Unless you're running a very complex and controlled electronic, controlled fiat monetary system, and that's what they're doing. So, anyway, should you listen to the great silver debate? Sure, why not? Big Dog points out all the stuff we've been talking about on silver for a long time and holds his own. Robert really didn't have much to contribute, buddy. But no, hey, he has his own opinion on what he thinks is going to happen when the price of silver rises. He thinks everybody's going to sell when it hits $50, $60. I think that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, it's the exact opposite. Everybody buys when prices rise, and he should know that. You've been in cryptos long enough. People don't get in until the price starts rising. Now, orchestrated slams, manipulation, that's an argument. That's the only argument to make about, and the importance of silver, about the price of silver not rising in the future, is that the powers that be that control all markets will do anything to save their system. Anything means, dump 4 billion ounces of electronic derivatives on the silver market in one day, which they do. So that's my take on the great silver debate. Wasn't so great, but keep the great out of the title next time. That's my take. Anyway, what's silver doing? Still being held at 50% of its all-time high. They could announce, we have a $27 quadrillion spending package. It wouldn't do anything to the price of silver. Silver is completely detached from any of the fundamentals because it has been suppressed for so long. What I'm looking forward to, and what you should look forward to, with silver in your own possession only, silver in your own possession is the day that the comic shuts down and the criminality ends. And it could end with any of these too big to fail banks failing. Word on the street is Bank of America is in a heap of trouble, and they are, I believe they're the largest naked short right now on the comics. And not only naked, but double naked, because they also leased silver from JP Morgan, according to Ted Butler. I believe Ted 100%. As a matter of fact, it bears out in the OCC data. At Bank of America added $2 billion or $3 billion. No, Bank of America and Citi added $5 billion total. But Citi added $3 billion of these are of, now it's not necessarily silver, but the vast majority of it is silver because it's classified as other precious metals. Gold, the OCC doesn't calculate that anymore. They throw it in with the US dollar because the future of money is gold. There's not enough silver. Sorry, even with the $4 billion, Robert, there's not enough silver to be used as money and as an industrial metal. I mean, silver is such an obvious investment opportunity. And yes, I think cryptos are our future, absolutely. The question is getting from the present, where we have massive corruption within our government and especially within our regulators, to a crypto future. How many obstacles are they going to put in the way of cryptos as far as market manipulation, which we already know the U.S. government does that in cryptos and in all other markets. But not only that, but in regulation, how are you going to pick and choose which are going to be the winning cryptos like the SEC seems to be wanting to do? Gary Gensler, my friend, Gary Gensler, who during the JP Morgan admitted manipulation of silver from 2008 to 2014, was the head of the CFTC, was in charge of that. While he was the boss, this is the biggest egg on the face in regulator history. The DOJ had to come in and do Gary Gensler's job and ultimately fine JP Morgan $982 million, the largest fine ever laid down for commodity rigging. And that's all on Gary Gensler's watch. And now Gary Gensler is the head of the SEC, the reigning expert in the government on cryptocurrencies, taught a course in cryptocurrencies at MIT. I watched it. You can get that online. Watch that course. He's very knowledgeable about cryptocurrencies. The problem is he wants to fit the old rules and regulations around cryptocurrency. And his ultimate goal is not any of that. His ultimate goal is to save the unbacked fiat system and save the rehypothecation system of our stocks and bonds. That's his ultimate goal. Keep control for the United States of America of the entire system. Come on, Gary. You went to MIT. You know these things. All right. So, again, last Wednesday was the big day. 750 million ounces of silver derivatives dumped on the market to tamp down the price. We're coming up to delivery time of December. Woo! We'll see. Right now, there's like only 5 days left, but we know how this game works, right? The rollover, the ever-dreaded rollover. Right now, they're looking at 250 million ounces they'd have to deliver if today was the last day. But they got 5 more days. It's the dreaded rollover. Just ask Jeffrey Christian, our good friend. Don't ask him who's doing it. 250 million ounces having to be rolled over every month in the last few days is not legitimate. There's nobody in the world hedging 250 million ounces of silver. Sorry. None of the mining companies hedge. I mean, yeah, it's a legitimate business function for certain people. I would say the U.S. Mint should not have any hedges, but they do. Why does the U.S. Mint have hedges if they keep stopping production because they don't have any inventory? The only reason to have hedges is for inventory. And by the way, they shouldn't have hedges anyway because the job of the U.S. Mint is not to make money in silver. As a matter of fact, it specifically says not to make money in silver and to get silver from anywhere in the world and produce silver eagles in quantities to meet demand, and they're still on allocation right now. They have been breaking the law for decades, and they know it. That's the thing that gets me. They know it. I filed Freedom of Information Act back in the day, maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, on both the U.S. Mint, and I sent in the proper forms, and the U.S. Treasury, saying, I would like to see the notification from the U.S. Treasury to the U.S. Mint to stop making U.S. Silver Eagles. That's my right. They should give it to me. I got a response from both of them because I wanted to see who was doing it, because it is the responsibility of the U.S. Treasury Secretary to instruct the U.S. Mint to stop making silver coins, Silver Eagles. And they both sent me a response. You know what their response says? The U.S. Mint says, I'm sorry, but you'd have to contact the U.S. Treasury about that notification. Great. I get 2 days later, I get a letter from U.S. Treasury that says, I'm sorry, but you'll have to contact the U.S. Mint about that notification. I still have those letters. Criminals. It takes criminals to control the criminal system. But, yes, there's shit going on in silver. Silver Eagles this year with the... Don't forget, they stopped production for a while because they had to stop in the middle of a year to change out dies for the new Silver Eagle that has that little tiny notch at the bottom and the change in the back. There is a reason for it. I don't know that reason, and nobody I have heard has given me any justification for doing that, especially in the middle of a year. Unless it's to, number one, slow down the amount of Silver Eagles being sold. Look at this. Look at this month right here. It's right here. The month of May, nothing, 0. They didn't even put a 0 because they were all shut down because, the also important redo of the Silver Eagle, which was ridiculous. The only thing I can figure, it's a demarcation point in time of some back deals that were struck. Maybe the U.S. Mint was only allowed to, well, actually, really interesting, because the U.S. Silver Eagle law says they have to make coins sufficient to meet demand. By the way, that has not changed. Someone was telling me that changed. No, it didn't change. What changed is who determines it. They changed it to put all the onus on the U.S. Treasury. So it's the U.S. Treasury Secretary that determines whether or not they're meeting demand. Clearly they are not meeting demand, but the U.S. Treasury Secretary gets to choose, which is ridiculous. But remember, for gold eagles, it has to be gold mined in the U.S. It's part of a global treaty with the central banks and with countries on how to deal in gold. There's massive amounts of gold. There's treaties everywhere when it comes to gold. Gold is the most important financial asset in the world. That's why the OCC moved gold away from silver and the other precious metals into the U.S. Dollar portion of their reporting. I hope everybody understands that there's so much more going on behind the scenes than we are told. We are being lied to by our government. It's not unbelievable. It's actual fact. Anyway, back to why I want to talk about where are we getting all the silver. Silver is now coming in from everywhere into the United States, which is awesome. U.S. imports even more silver this year, pulling supply from Turkey, Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. Well, first of all, the EPA won't let us open a new silver mine. Talk to a mining company about mining silver in the United States. That's completely shut off, just like it's shut off for mining gold in the Grand Canyon and in Chocolate Mountain in California. Anywhere there's a national park or desert wildlife preserve in California, Dianne Feinstein, if that is still you behind those dark eyes, check that out. Jenny Moonstone and I do a reading on that. Are these politicians the same politicians that we had before? Or have they been taken over or something? You got to check that one out. That's going on later today. But check out the amount of imports. They're all over the place. Why are we importing silver? Well, by law, the U.S. Mint is required to find silver anywhere they can, anywhere around the world for the Silver Eagle program. Gold is different, only in the U.S., but we're not running out of gold. There's millions of tons of gold, Jeff Christian, not 200,000 tons. Anyway, if we were really had so much gold and so much silver in the world, why would the Britain Royal Mint try to extract gold from discarded electronics? They're trying to extract all, I think it's more silver related. They have plenty of gold. Britain's Royal Mint said on Wednesday it planned to build a plant in Wales that could reclaim hundreds of kilograms of gold and other precious metals from electronic waste such as mobile phones and laptops. We've been waiting for this point. Now, it takes, what, 6 months to a year to build a facility like this, right? What do they know? I mean, at $1,800 gold and $25 silver doesn't make sense to do that. It'll cost you more. Try at $18,000 gold and $100,000 silver. Would they be trying to extract the metal from these old discarded waste products? Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Oh, wait, stop. We have a live stream today. I'm on a live stream from 12 to 1. 12 to 1. Go to roadtoruta.com. 12 o'clock on Pacific time. So 3 to 4 East Coast time. 12 to 1 Pacific time. Live stream. Talk about anything. Throw your questions in the question thing. Will be running on the side. Don't be an ass, because I'll delete you if you're an ass in the questions and comments. It's just, I don't have time to deal with it. That's why I don't. Well, the main reason I don't have any comments below my videos is the obvious one, that people have been scamming my people out of their cryptos. Call this number, this is Bix, and they put my picture up there, or they'll put our logo up there. If I ask you for your cryptos, or you think you're talking to me on Telegram or on YouTube, it's not me. It's not me. They're going to steal your crypto. So just beware of that. So come check that out at roadtoruta.com. Also, we are in the last weeks of the sweepstakes. Win $5,000 worth of Theta and Theta Fuel. Wait, let me take that back. Total $5,000. $2,500 of Theta, $2,500 of Theta Fuel. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything. You get more entries if you're a private road member. Go to roadtoruta.com and it'll give you the form. You just fill out the form and poof, you're entered to win $5,000 worth of our favorite cryptocurrencies, Theta and Theta Fuel. And soon to be T-Drop. Soon to be T-Drop, another Jenny Moonstone reading for what T-Drop's going to do. All you people who are staking Theta right now, do not sell. Hang on. Nobody is. If you look at the amount staked, it's 65%. It's been 65% forever. You know, the rigging of Theta and Theta Fuel, the banning from Theta or Theta Fuel being traded on Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken or anywhere in the United States is patently obvious, trying to keep United States citizens away from it. Why? I don't know. I think when they do open that floodgate, the U.S. citizens will all come into it. Why? Because it's the future of the internet. That's what Theta is, the future of the internet. Without Theta, broadband ain't going to work. Have you heard Cliff's latest talking about the satellites all starting to blow up and little pieces falling around? I've been talking about that since Cliff's been talking about that. Elon Musk's little idea to put 40,000 satellites around the same orbit in Earth is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Blow one of them up and it's a ping pong effect. Or the mousetrap. You know, you put the ping pong ball in the mousetrap and all of a sudden everything goes off. You can have little pieces and parts flying into satellites. We're going to have to... Cliff's data had a global cleansing of all the satellite pieces and parts around planet Earth before we can ever get off this planet and go anywhere. So, more on that later. Tune in at noon Pacific time for the live chat. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. I'll talk to you later.
Hang on tight, my friends. Theta Girl's on her way.
Would fly to the sky, dump everything on her, let her take me so high. Well, she said her name was Theta, wanna go for a ride. All band expansion, always there by my side. She's my Theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go Theta, go Theta, go Theta, go. I said her while they watch her press her. She's my theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. I said go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. You're my theta girl, you really rock my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Well, my wife got really jealous, I love theta too much. She said, I know it sounds crazy, I'm missing your touch. You're gonna have to choose, it's either me or your coin. I'm sad to see her go, but look where theta is gone. She's my theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. I said go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. You're my theta girl, you really rock my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. Well, I believe Sarasi $1,000 or more. Everybody watching theta partner galore. Samsung and Sony, Apple, Netflix and more. Google and then YouTube, well you watch it press or. It's my theta girl, she really rocks my world. Go theta, go theta, go theta, go. 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 You're my theta girl,